So we're here again today to talk. We have a subject today pertaining to intuition and authenticity. And before we get into that subject, I have a listener question that I'm going to read to Athena. And the question reads, I understand that how we think about another person can affect how that person responds to us. In my situation, as I was raising my son, he grew up with his dad and his dad's family that degraded me to my son. Consequently, my son has been terrible to me for 11 years. I have basically stayed away so that my son wouldn't feel torn between me and his father. I try to think loving thoughts, but I am also hurt by his actions. I now have a grandchild, and still my son is terrible to me. It's been suggested that I should not write him a letter because it wouldn't do any good. However, I feel if I don't say something, he would never know my truth, and maybe it would clear up some misunderstandings. I mostly focus on my own life, but I need to do something because the pain of this often is unbearable, especially now that I have a grandchild and my son doesn't feel it's important for his child to know me. I also feel that he's using this child, now 4 months old, to hurt me more. I also feel that the more time goes by, the opportunity for my son to make more assumptions about things. Doing nothing just does not seem to be the answer.
We are going to answer the question as empathetically, let's use that term, as we can, because we are not discounting this mother's feelings or the grief really that she is experiencing. But in her comment really that her son has been made to believe something against her, yes, and that she has no part in it, we have to discount, you see. Because as she feels this way, yes, as she decides, and it is a decision, to receive this painful experience and let it impact her to the degree that it is. And now we're not going to deny an experience. We're not going to discount a human experience. We never are going to do that. We said we will agree with you all the time. It is true. What is happening to her is painful, difficult. It's true. We're not denying the experience. But the only way that she can avoid these experiences in the future is she has to energetically change what it is that is making it stick or come to her, you see. Mm-hmm. And we would tell you her injustice is the fact that is causing this great attraction for the behavior that she is receiving. She feels as though she has been treated unjustly. And we would tell you that if she would observe herself in many areas of her life, she would probably find this injustice lying there as well. It could also be in her ancestry. It is another area that one could look. But make no mistake about it, we are glad that you have brought this question to the attention of the listeners, is there's nothing random going on here. There's nothing that is occurring in your life that you are not somehow a match to. Now, does that mean you're going to like it? Does that mean that it's not true? It does not. It means that you are experiencing something you would prefer not to experience. So now it is your job to figure out what in you is a match to this. She has to give up the idea that an injustice has been done to you. She has to give up the idea that her husband is responsible for this one's actions, because everyone is responsible for their own actions, including her son, you see. Mm-hmm. So when she can really start to give up the idea that there's someone to blame for this, that there's someone that has caused this, now she is moving into an energy that can transform or conform those that she is in experience with, you see. Mm-hmm. When you are a match to something, you're a match to it. And it is your job to figure out what can you do energetically that makes you no longer a match to this. You see, you're not a punching bag here on the earth plane. You're not expected to be here to feel bad or to receive this type of treatment that you are not wanting. But you are the creator of it, whether you are liking it or not, you see. So what can she do, really? You can't force or make another one do something different than what it is they are choosing to do, because they are sovereign beings. It is their choice. But you can decide for yourself how you want to feel. Stop feeling victimized. Stop feeling as though someone has placed something upon you that is unjust.
Mm-hmm.
And just acknowledge the idea that somehow you have created an experience that you're not liking. And now you have to decide, how do you want to feel? How do you want to be received in your life? And then you are to send this out to the universe. You are to remove these blocks or these things that are in you that you are using as an excuse, and that's what it is, to deflect the unjust treatment that you feel you are receiving. See, you have to own what you are receiving. You have to say, I have created an experience I'm not liking. And from here, I am going to decide how I am going to respond to this treatment or this way that I am being treated, you see. And I'm going to respond to myself in love. And I'm going to respond to my son in love. And as difficult as it is, I'm going to respond to this ex-husband in love. Because I am receiving everything that I am needing. I am getting every lesson to grow and to expand to the greater degree that I am expanding because of the experience I'm having. What do I really want? I want better family relationships. I want more love. I want more connection. Make no mistake about it. You are receiving this and all that is. You have become this. And all you need to do to receive it on the earth plane is you have to align to it. You're never going to align to it in the blame. You're never going to align to it in the injustice. You're never going to align to it in the anger that you hold towards the one that you feel is the cause of it. You see, you align to it in the love of self, in the recognition that I have had some life experiences that have caused me to attract things to myself that have made me expand to more love because of it. And this is the way that we would suggest that she do it, you see. Mm-hmm. Not in the condemning, not in the, sometimes there's even a little bit of self-righteousness or a feeling of, I don't deserve this. This is not for me, you see. And we are here to tell you right now, there's never a case where that is the case, you see. Every experience you are getting, you have called it unto yourself. You are expanding because of the experience. You are adding to all that is and to yourself. You are becoming the greater degree of what you are experiencing. There's no bad experiences. There's charges of energy. And we would tell you there's a lot of energy going out around this experience that she is having, you see. Mm-hmm. Now she has to decide, how can I send out that energy in love? How can I send out that energy so that when it returns to me, it's not going to sting me again? I don't have to keep resending that same letter over and over and over again to the same address, to the same person. I can decide I'm going to create from my joy and my happiness. And I'm going to hope that these ones decide to join me. But if they don't, I'm not going to join them. I am not going to believe that I have to feel this way, that I have to live this way, or that I am being mistreated. I am going to know that I'm the creator of my experience, and I'm going to prove it to myself by the way that I live in every moment of every day. And I'm going to look for things to admire, for things to be grateful for. And as I notice these things that are hurtful, I'm going to go back into my moment, my now moment, my creative moment, and I'm going to choose something that I can feel good about. I'm going to choose something that is going to project something into the future that is different than what I have projected up to this point, you see.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Good advice. So I'm assuming that you would not recommend sending a letter based on what you've explained, or do you think that it might not be a bad idea to send a letter?
It would depend on the energy that she is sending the letter in. And we would tell you that in what we are receiving currently, she could get a negative response to that. She is going to justify, she is going to point the finger, she is going to tell her side of the story, you see. And whenever, we have told you this before, whenever a human has to go into defense, whenever a human has to go into justification, you're moving into a shady area, and you're not going to feel good as you do it. You're opening up opposition energy. The one is just going to come back to you in their sovereignty on their justification against your justification. And here you are again in conflict, you see. It's not going to resolve anything. The best way that you can resolve a conflict is to resolve it within yourself. So in this way, we say the letter is worth nothing.
Yeah. Well, and let me ask this question, because we had talked, I think last week or the week before, about, like attracting a negative experience to yourself. And if you have what you consider an intuitive hit that says this is going to give you a problem, get your energy around it cleaned up before you do it. So if this individual was able to clean up her energy around it and send a letter, I'm not, saying what I think she should or shouldn't say, but just as an example, say, you're my son. I love you. I just want you to know that I'm here. If you ever want to reach out to me, something very neutral, that might be a good starting point for a letter. Clean your energy up around it, and then send something that isn't in justification. Would that
is what we call pre-paving, or setting the tone for how you want the exchange to go. And we would recommend, yes, this would be an alternative way that she could do it. Not in a way that she is going to justify or to try to change his mind or influence him into believing that he has been poisoned by someone else that he is valuing. We would tell you, this is not the way to do it. It is to do it in a way of love. Yes, I do not understand what has transpired between us that has brought us to the point or place that we are at. I can only say that from this point forward, this is what I would like to have in my life. I love you. I care about you. I would love to be a part of my grandchild's life. I am willing to honor you and to honor it in any way that would be satisfactory to you. I wish nothing more than to give my love and to have you receive it, you see. This leaves the past out. This is what we call moving forward in the present moment, you see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that helps with our listeners' dilemma. Hopefully you get some resolution. I know that's a tough one.
Yes.
All right. So on to our topic of intuition and authenticity. You had, I believe, had a podcast out a few days back about what intuition really is. And I'm just going to ask you, because there might be some listeners that haven't heard the podcast, can you briefly give us a description of what intuition really is?
Yes. Many are thinking that intuition is something impressive or grand that is coming from a higher source above them, and then instructing them how it is they should move in their life, you see. And we would tell you that intuition is coming from you to you in regard to your energetic relationship to anything that you are involved in, you see. And so basically, if you are moving in a direction where your energy is signaling that there could be harm coming to you, then you would get the intuitive hit. This could be a shady area for you. Maybe you should rethink or not go in the direction you were going, you see. We're going to use this opportunity because we told you, Heidi, that Robin's husband, Dave, had a situation and he asked about it. He didn't understand it many times, and this happened to him more than once. He would be driving home from work on his way, and he would get a very strong intuitive hit, take a different road. Don't go down that road today, you see. And we would tell you that he honored it. He never went down that road. So he never really found out what was there. Was there an accident waiting? What was going to happen? Was there a breakdown on his vehicle? What might have occurred, you see? And we told him today, as we were talking to him, that an energetic match with another person in your vicinity could be somebody coming in a car that you have conflicting views with, or you have complementing views with. And then this intuition that you have would then again notify you, you're coming up against something that's coming into your purview, yes, that you are going to either have a crash with because you are in conflict, or perhaps you're going to have a pleasant meeting. One doesn't really know, but this is how your intuition works. It is all encompassing, all surveying, all knowing, yes, universe that you are a part of. And so as you are beginning to attract circumstances, situation, people, and things into your life, you will be notified oftentimes by hits of intuition that will let you know, there's one that you're going to be in great conflict with, and it's up around the corner here. Maybe you want to go the other way and avoid it. This would be another way that your intuition would work. But once again, it's coming from you. It is a guidance from your energetic level based upon the energetic levels that are in your vicinity that you have now brought in by your way of thinking, by your agreement to different topics, to whatever it is that you are either for or against in your life. These are all things that could enact or react your intuition, you see.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was also kind of remembering back to when you talked about how you perceive the world versus how the world perceives you. And
Yes.
I kind of just made a little link between how much your perception is really almost another way of saying your intuition. Because if you're perceiving something in a certain way, you're attracting that to yourself. And so if you get this uneasy feeling, it's maybe because you've been perceiving something about that subject in a negative light. And then when you feel an intuitive hit, it's just that alignment. Would that be correct?
Not entirely.
Okay.
Your perception is based upon your life experiences and then your belief in them, having experienced them, you see. So you have experiences, and then there is a result that occurs because of the experiences you have. And then we are wanting to give you a better example. Say, we use your pickleball all the time. Say you go to pickleball, and then you have an experience where a higher level player treats you unkindly or treats you as though you are no right to be there. You're not doing well enough, you see. And so then from this, you start to perceive yourself, you start to believe it, because a better player than you has impacted you and has made you feel as though you are less. And so you have decided to agree. You've seen it, you've perceived him, you are agreeing with what he is saying, the agreement, and now the belief starts to form. And after the belief, the manifestation is shortcoming, and now your confidence is out the window. It's starting to go. And why is it? Is it the one's fault that casts this upon you? No, it's your vulnerability in your agreement to it, and then you deciding to perceive yourself the way he sees you. A perception is your decision to perceive yourself the way that others are responding to you, and then you get this belief going, and once the belief is going, the manifestation is soon to follow, you see. And so all your intuition is then is a reaction letting you know you've perceived yourself in a way, and now you believe it. I can sense you believe it, so I'm going to warn you with the intuition to let you know you're going to collide with it. It's coming, you see.
Yes. So it's almost like a pre-step to.
It's a confirmation of your perception of yourself. But it is not the perception per se.
Yes.
It is you confirming, inform what you have perceived is about to collide with you. That's your intuition. You are close to connecting to what you perceive, and it's going to come into your reality. And if you want to avoid it, go the other way. You see.
Yes. Yeah. And I also
taking alternative routes home, or you can decide to clean up yourself a little bit and stop perceiving yourself the way every single person you come into contact perceives yourself, because they have a perception of themselves, don't forget. And they often will project that onto you. So you don't have to believe every perception that another has of you, because it is tied into their own of themselves.
Yes.
You understand us?
I do.
It's not necessarily that you're inadequate. It's not necessarily that you're no good. Maybe they don't feel good. And maybe you're a little vulnerable in that area and they present it to you. But this should be a sign or signal to you to not take that on. to not decide to join them in that perception. Just
Mhm.
know I'm a little vulnerable. I feel it. I sense it. You see, I'm
Yeah.
going to shore myself up now. I'm going to let that one have that. Thank you for that message that you just mirrored at me about me, but I'm not going to take it. I'm going to remain in my confidence, and I'm going to let that go. You see.
Yes. Yes. So, does being in your authentic self or being in your truth make you more intuitive or not necessarily?
Uh, we would say that it does, because when you are in alignment, and that's what you're really talking about, your connection to source is always greater, and your intuition is coming from your source. And even though we will tell you that you are never completely disconnected from your source, you can, as you know, in negative feelings and emotions, you can move yourself pretty far away from it, but you're going to feel pretty crappy as you do it, you see. But as you feel good, as you feel authentically aligned to yourself, and what does authenticity mean? Does it mean that you are the perfect human? Does it mean that everybody that meets you likes you and you do everything right? Does not. It means that you have embraced whatever parts of yourself you know to be true to you. It means that you have loved yourself, you have accepted yourself. Perhaps you are a little snarky, perhaps you are a little bit humorous, perhaps you are a little whatever it is. You have adopted or accepted yourself in form the way that you are, you see. This is authenticity at its best. And when you do this, the universe already has this perception of you because it knows you, it's connected to you. And even though you may have pretended to be perfect, and even though you maybe pretend not to have any vulnerabilities and to be something that you are not, the universe knows you are not. It knows what you are, you see. And so when you align, you become this stronger, heavier, thicker current that is connected to all that is. And that's where your intuition comes to. So yes, it will be keener, it will be stronger, and it will be more easy for you to have clarity surrounding it.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
We were talking about, I think actually you were talking about on one of your podcasts, I think it was the one having to do with intuition, about how you have a negative person before you and it wouldn't be before you if there wasn't a match. So
Yes.
could you kind of explain to us examples of what a match could be? And what I mean by that is I've had an experience where I've sensed something distrustful off of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And so now just looking, and that's been years ago, but just looking at that, am I to assume that the options of where my alignment would be was either A, I was distrustful, B, I was feeling like a victim, or what would be the range of reasons why someone wouldn't be a match to a negative person or situation?
Yes. Uh, we will tell you that the negative person may show up in front of you, and although you are seeing that, sensing it as not trustful, and this is the form of negativity that you are feeling, it could be that energetically there are other topics or other things that are not at all in alignment with you, that are not congruent with the way that you think or feel, you see. And this is what can flub a human up a little bit. They automatically, we would say in your case, Heidi, you are not really a person to distrust for no reason. You are not confident. You are not, we wouldn't put you as a victim or someone that feels as though are going to be taken advantage of, because you could stand up for yourself pretty well if you needed to. So for you, we would say that the congruency could be more in their way of being, or perhaps they are controlling in politics, perhaps they are controlling in medicine, perhaps they are controlling in the personal rights of others. And then this would be something that would be very conflicting to you, because it is not something that you are congruent with or in alignment with. And we are talking about a little situation that we know that you have experienced, where you felt this distrust, or you labeled it as distrust, but we would say it would be more in the line of a person being wanting to control in areas that you would prefer not to be controlled in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you understand that matches can occur in many ways, you see.
Yeah.
And this is why we are telling humans to, it is not an easy task that we are asking you to do, but if you can decide to try to live in your sovereignty as much as you can, and to know that you are as powerful as the entire universe as you do this, and that it matters not what someone else is doing. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't matter what they feel. And when you adopt this understanding, then all of these aggravating people will no longer be part of your experience, because you are no longer feeling as though you need to deflect, protect, or avoid these types of people. If once you understand that you are a sovereign, powerful creator who is connected to this mass, this unbelievable source of energy, and that when you become in alignment by permitting this connection to be in its fullness, that you now adopt the power that creates worlds, that you are now as powerful as all that is, just as you are. So this is why we poo-poo sometimes needing large numbers of people to congregate together to believe in the one thing. This is what they believe in, and maybe this causes alignment for them. And if it does, then great, then the source is shored up in you, or the power is increased in you. But it's not necessary. We want you to know that you have this individual sovereignty that is capable of creating at the level that creates worlds. But you have to know it. You have to house it. You have to believe it. You have to embody it. You can't wonder or waver in this belief. This is why we are trying to get you to understand that when you leave this human tool, and that's what it is, this body that you are using for the experience you are in, you have really adopted the tool, or you have the tool, so that you can become all that is in form, you see, and that you can see all your desires, all of your likes, all of the ways that you would like the world to unfold would be implemented or seen, let's use that term, in your personal experience. Now, everybody's not going to see it the same way that you do, but your experience would be transformed, and it would be exactly, and this is when they talk about heaven on earth, it's really heaven on earth for each sovereign being, because each one has let go of the idea that they somehow have to contain, control, or deny or direct another human on how they build their own universe. Build your own universe. Put in there what you want to see, and then watch these ones drop away that are aggravating you.
Mm-hmm. So just for more clarification for listeners, if you are not at a level where you're able to not attract a negative person or experience to yourself, obviously, as a human, I feel like it would be beneficial to know what the attractant quality was. Mm-hmm. So if I, for instance, attracted somebody dishonest, I would want to look at myself now and try to find the area in my life that was the match to this. Is there any way that an individual could quickly find that out? Does it usually come pretty quickly to the forefront if they ask that question? Or how would it be that they would get some clarity? Because not everyone immediately is just going to know, oh yeah, because I felt like this in this situation, that's why I'm attracted.
We would tell you in this case, feeling good is feeling good and feeling bad is feeling bad. Why would you feel it is necessary to tag it or to name it? You see, you just
just so you could prevent future similar negative experiences, like clean the vibration.
Them. The only way that you can change behavior, the only way that behavior or responses change, is through the connection of the love of self. So you are to notice that your human emitted a negative emotion, and you are to acknowledge that you have expanded to the greater degree of it, and to love yourself for having the experience that you just now deposited in all that is, that you didn't like the feel of, the taste of, and then I have become more because of it. And now you love your human. You say thank you for doing that, for having that experience. And then you move into the love of self. And now what happens is you reunite or emerge into the oneness, into the connection to self, and it does the transformation that now will not bring experiences to you that you are not wanting or liking. You are trying to do it as a human. When you say as a human, I need to figure out what it is I did, what I did, did to cause this negative response that I had. All you are doing is using the tool, the human, and you're never going to get anywhere by using the tool. The tool is governed by the source. So we want you to acknowledge the source that is you and reconnect to it and let it do the cleanup instead of you trying to do it yourself.
Okay, that makes it easier
Yeah.
than trying to go through.
Transformation, Heidi, is effortless when you
Yeah.
do this. All you need to do is keep loving yourself, keep accepting yourself, keep thanking yourself for the experiences, keep growing from the experiences. If you think you're ever going to figure out contrast, if you think for 1 minute that you are ever going to stop having negative emotion, you are dead wrong. Why do we say dead? Because you would be dead. That's the only way you would not receive negative emotion. So accept it, embrace it, know that you have expanded because of it. Love the human for having the experience. Align, just let it go. And this is how the flow will come into you. And then your vibratory level will rise and your human will hum with its high self. And then in that resonance, nothing will be attracted that you're not liking the feel of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think when someone is in their authentic state and not trying to pretend that they are this or they are that, they are much more able to choose the things that they really like or bring them joy, rather than maybe adopting another person's love or like. And that kind of brings me into a part you talked about where you said doing inspired things creates action. Can you explain the difference between just taking action versus inspired action?
Yes. Inspired action comes when you have built the energy or the desire long enough that it is effortless and that you feel as though doing it is joyful. You feel that doing it feels in alignment, feels wonderful, feels like the right next step to take, you see. But when you are noticing that you are not having what you're in experience that you are wanting, when you are noticing there's a lack of something and you feel like you need to get going, you need to get your human moving on something, you need to make something happen. This is action taken by the human. This is not inspired action. And this is action that you have not built enough energy behind that is necessarily going to yield you the feeling that you are really wanting through the experience you're calling to yourself, you see. So we used the example of you and Robin creating this course that you were working on. And right now we talked about if you could imagine that you were in a void, it is a black tunnel. And this tunnel is the now moment. And when the two of you are together and you talk about it, you move into the now moment, you move into the enjoyment of it, the fun of it, the doing it together, the benefit to others that will receive it as you create it together. And you are in this moment of joy, you see. And Robin said sometimes she can stay there for quite a while. This tunnel appeared to her long before she did the podcast, and she found herself in it and realized, I'm in the present moment. This is what they are talking about, you see. But every once in a while she was in the tunnel and she was thinking all of the positive things about the course and about how it would benefit and how she would benefit and how Heidi would benefit and how the world would be better because of it. Then outside, in contrast to this feeling, she is alerted what is in her universe. And a little thought comes in of not good enough, a little thought of, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I'm as good as every other channeler. I don't know if people would want what I am offering. And so we wanted her to just notice in the void that something in her universe has been activated by the good feeling that she has been sending out that is in opposition to what it is she is wanting. And we don't want her to go out there in that universe and join those emotions. We simply want her to bring herself back to her void, back to this black tunnel that she is in. I hear you. Yes. I am grateful for all experiences I have had, because I know that while I am in the void and while I am focused on what it is that I am wanting in my life, I am becoming stronger and I am sending out more and more and more to that universe that is in alignment with what I want, you see. And right now I know that I am inspired to take some action, but I know that there are still some reactions because I felt them. I felt some opposition to what I am doing. And that is just me reminding me that I am vulnerable and I'm now building more energy. When I have that little bit of negativity, the high part of me expands because of it. And the only reason those thoughts are coming to me is because my desire needs a little bit more energy packed around it before I build my course. you see. So I'm just going to let that happen. I'm just going to receive the expansion from that little bit of that negative emotion, and I'm going to move back into my void and start creating and be on my happy way, you see.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we want you to do it.
Yes. And it's interesting that that practice of the void came up and how synchronistic sometimes things are, because as you know, I'm a big fan of Joe Dispenza, and he doesn't necessarily maybe call it exactly the black void, but he has you do a process that is very similar to that. And I remember doing it, a few years back, and how it was described is that in that void, all possibilities exist. And so you can, you know, all of your desires and wants. That's kind of how I did the creation of the condo, is kind of the same way of what you were talking about with the course.
Yes.
And I would just go into that void, and sometimes I would imagine myself embodying my high self, like my high self fully coming into me, and how that would feel, and just different things. And it was interesting how much it's almost like it is a form of visualization, basically,
Yes,
where you can
it is.
play.
But even where it is different a little bit than in visualization, Heidi, is these are actual thought forms. They are things, we call them things, yes, that are in your universe that are being presented to you. And we really like the analogy that we gave you, that when you are in your void and when you are deciding what it is you want to add to your universe, what it is that you are presently adding will be measured against what you have already added. And this is why those thoughts are now attracted or brought to you. But as you stay in the void longer, as you build energy, and this is what we're doing, we're building energy in the powerful now moment, in the positive moment of now, we are building up our energy towards the goal or the thing that we want to become. And as you build this energy, those other things that you felt, that Robin felt, she will know that she is beginning to build energy that is surpassing them, because they will no longer be in close proximity and coming into her mind as they are presently, as this ball of energy that she is now building gets bigger and bigger. It's already occurring, you see. The minute she kicked him out, and it wasn't in a bad way, it wasn't in a denying way, it was in a acknowledging way. I guess I need a little more energy. I guess you're showing me that this is out there, and I need this thing in the present now moment to get bigger before that thing out there gets smaller.
Right. It's a form of tipping the scales.
Absolutely.
Once you hit that level, it starts to go the other way, and you start to be able to be more attractant of things, and those things that used to like occupy a lot of mind space dwindle.
We are really glad this came up, because this is another clue or key to the speed or timing of manifestation that perhaps other channelers have not mentioned. You have to overcome that negativity, that thought form that you have added a lot to, that is surrounding you in the universe, that is you in your now moment, in your void. You have to transform it. You have to overcome that energy by building energy in opposite. You see?
Yeah. And, this is just another little part. It might not be exactly what we're discussing, but just for people to kind of play around with. I feel like if you're trying to test this, you can play around with things that are not of any significance to you, that you wouldn't necessarily have a lot of doubt or negative thoughts coming in about, and just play. And I have a funny example. I know last week I mentioned people that just seem to live this experience, but really have no desire to know about spirituality or the law of attraction or vibrational matches. They just kind of live their life that way. And I was speaking to this person the other day, and she was telling me a story about how when her daughter was young, there was a little cabin across the street from where they live, and the daughter used to joke, "Oh, someday I'm going to live in that cabin." And it was joke because she was a little girl.
Yeah.
And she would laugh about it. And obviously, as a child, she had no indications either way to be for or against it or have doubt about it. It was just kind of a funny little game. And now, as an adult, guess where that daughter lives? She lives on that very lot, not in the cabin, but she lives on that very lot in the home that she built right
What
across
did
from,
she do, really? She built energy around an
yeah.
experience that she was wanting to have.
And
We
she
want to
had
go
no
back to your,
opposition either
yeah,
because it was not something that she cared either way. She was just a child.
yes. But we also want to go back to the question that the caller gave in the beginning. This one, if she were to survey or to look at the amount of energy over the years that she has deposited into her universe about the response that she was getting from her son and the treatment she received from her husband is great. And we would tell you that she has far from equaled it in her now moment in opposition to it, you see. So
Mhm.
we would advise her further that she really make some deposits in her now moment of energy of how she would love the relationship to be, how she would like all relationships to be. And that as she feels these feelings coming in from the outside of her universe, that she recognizes them as indicators that I need to build more energy. I need to intend more. I need to focus more on what I am wanting to overcome these deposits that I have made in great amounts of emotion for many, many years that I have come to overcome, you see.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And I, I spoke last week about repetition, and I again think that's a wonderful thing as I'm working on this course with Robin that we want to do. I find myself going back through things that I've not only discussed over the time with Athena, but also with other spiritual teachers. And as I go through the layout and the plan for this, it has lifted and elevated me and made me feel um, like not that I didn't know it already, but just kind of thinking about using it as a tool to help others has benefited me greatly. So I really think that the repetition is hugely important, and we're really excited about the course. We're hoping that a lot of people get a lot of benefit out of it when it's ready.
Yes.
Do you have anything that you'd want to add to our listeners pertaining to the course or its content?
Yes. It has always been our desire to work with humans who have a basis. And we would tell you all of our clients that we have had sessions with all have spiritual backgrounds or understanding. Let's use that term. And so, but they are still frustrated. They are still stuck in places. They are not getting the movement, perhaps in the areas, even your caller who has called in, who we would say has a great broad perspective of spiritual principles, but yet finds herself in this situation and is stumped by it, you see. And so these are the types of things that we would like to help humans overcome so that they can move to this next level of consciousness. And that's really what an expansion or another reality is. It's your consciousness expanding beyond where it is stuck or where it is held by the present perceptions of the life you are living, and that you can really become accountable for all of the experiences that you have had, all of the lessons that you have gone through. That is really what the basis of the course. Not only will we be touching on examples, circumstances, and situations, there will be ample time for people who are participating in the course to perhaps unravel some personal experiences that they have had that are holding them hostage or keeping them stuck, such as the caller that she is wanting to move on from. She presently, we would tell you, not picking on you, whoever you are, yes, you are still a little bit in the victimization or the not deserving. We're not going to tell you you haven't been victimized or you're not deserving, but what we are going to tell you is as you hold that tone, then this will be what the universe provides to you. It can give you nothing else but what you are emanating, you see. So we're trying to get her to look at how she would like it to be and to build energy in that direction so that she can move out of this blame, this victimization that she is in, and that she can radiate something different to the universe so that her experience can now be different because of it, you see. And this is just a small taste or an example of what we will do in these very personal exchanges that we would be having with people that would be participating in this upcoming course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and we do have a little while. Book is not due out until I think sometime in February, and we're planning shortly after that to get the course ready and online for people. Well, I think I'm all good on questions and comments. Is there anything further from you, Athena, today?
It would be great to hear back from those that are listeners and from those that listen to our podcast, how they feel about participating in a course that we will be offering. We're guessing it would be March. We will be more forthcoming with information as we go along this process. We really are grateful to all of you that have signed up for the YouTube. We would appreciate it if you would share it with your friends. If you would also offer the podcast to anyone. There is great information on there. We do regular podcasts on many variety of topics, and we think humans find them very helpful. We are grateful, Heidi, for the work that you are doing in co-creation with us and Robin, and we hope that others will join us in this endeavor to expand to a new level of consciousness that we are heading to.
That sounds really good. And as always, if you have comments or questions for future YouTubes, email me, Heidi, at athenaintruth